Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Claflin Athletic Show. With us today, we have a new coach in an established program. Talk about coming in and the seat is hot. When you had the type of success the women's softball team has had at Claflin, you got to come in, dive off the board, and hit that sucker swimming. You got to be rolling with it. We think that Claflin hired just the man to do that. So without further ado, Coach Ricky Holden. Welcome to the Claflin Athletic Show, Coach.
Thank you. How you doing?
Oh, great. And I did say what was true. You had the program, one of the premier programs that Claflin has to offer, and they have given the reins to you.
Yes, sir.
How does that make you feel, Coach?
It's great. I definitely appreciate everything going through the interview process. I appreciate the administration who did the interviews. They did deep dive. It took a while, but I'm pretty sure because they had to vet who was going to be the perfect fit to take over the program and lead the program in the direction that it was already headed.
Exactly right, Coach. You tell us a little bit about your experiences because you've been in the MEAC and North Carolina Central, North Carolina A&T. Tell us a little bit about your experiences.
So I've been coaching softball since 2015, 2016. When I came home from overseas, I was in the military. I played baseball while I was in the Air Force. I done seen overseas baseball. I done did overseas softball. So when I came back home, I coached my high school team for a while. Then I started doing a travel team. And then I got my master's degree while I was at North Carolina Central and doing my internship. I did a little stuff of athletic director roles and also looking at collegiate coaching roles. And that's from North Carolina Central. And then I got the opportunity to be the assistant coach at North Carolina A&T. While at North Carolina A&T, before I got there, they was 3-21 in the conference. The season when we finished 11-14. I had a winning season since 2017 and actually made it to the CAA conference tournament, something they haven't done since they left the MEAC itself. Just my experience with coaching is networking. I got a lot of connections with a lot of different coaches from around the country itself. Just taking in advice and using my thought process and logical thinking to implement into the game, but also using my background in mental health to implement the mental part of the game that a lot of people miss out on.
Okay, expound on that just a little bit. Since you opened up that can of worms, explain how your background in mental health is advantageous to you in terms of what you're doing coaching.
Mental health is very, very big. It helps us in everything we're doing. It also keeps us grounded. So I am still a certified mental health counselor. I do peer support and I do substance abuse. So seeing that side of things, breaking stuff down to where you can dissect why we're think the way we think, why we do certain things we do. And it goes down to rooted issues that we have growing up that we never faced. So it rolls over into sports. Same thing. If you got a mindset of knowing that it's okay to not be successful at one at bat or at one play, that's not the whole game. We got more in it. It's learning to take what you messed up on and move forward. You're going to feel away because you want to play to perfection. That's what athletes do. But also knowing it's hard to be perfect, but you can learn from your mistake. And when that chance comes back, you got to capitalize on it. So I definitely work with the mental health side of the game, especially with my athletes. I make sure that's part of their non-negotiables. You got to have self-care. If you're having a bad day, we got to identify that. If you need time, get time. I go through therapy myself, so I push that through my athletes. If you need it, it's not a bad thing. You need that outlet to get whatever it is inside of you out so you can think clearer. So when it comes time to game time, all you're thinking about is playing and performing to your best of the ability.
Oh, that's an excellent response. And I feel your energy and your passion in your words. Tell me this, Coach. How do you feel your youth plays to your advantage? Because other people might say, well, he's kind of young to be in that position, but you've had some experience and you're coming from the military, so you bring some things that are actually beneficial to the program. Give us a chance to, I'll give you a chance to explain that to your viewers.
Yes, sir. Of course, I hear it all the time. Like, hey, he's very, very young. Yeah, I look very, very young. I'm still gonna say I'm very young, but I'm 35. I have my bachelor's degree. I have my master's degree. I've been through the military boot camp. I did 4.5 years in the Air Force. I've been deployed. I have that strong family rooted background. So, but also I have the old school background, but I'm also younger. So I know where the athletes are at now. Like, I'm not found to it. Do I like half the stuff that they listen to? No, but I have to meet them where they at so they feel that connection. The more you connect with your athletes, the better they'll perform because they trust you. And if you believed in them, you can get them to believe in their self. So with me being younger, like, I can go and have their team bonding with them and not feel left out. Like, I know the dances they do off TikTok. I know all the like photo stuff that they want to do when we do photo day. Like, I let them express themselves because I'm in tune with it. And I also know, okay, this is where I draw the line. You can't go past this line because I do have that standard. I have that structure in me. We go with time management. So I always preach when I first got here, hey, it's a give and take. I will allow y'all to be student athletes if you're performing and doing the standards. We have standards because that's what we live up to. And as long as you're up to the standards, you can be freely of who you are. And it's perfectly fine. I allow them to do the music while we at practice. Like, I allow that stuff because I know it makes them happy. But it also makes me happy that they're performing to that ability and they keeping up with the standards. So with me being younger, it's easy for me to figure out where they're at, and TikTok world and Twitter, and they on Instagram. Like, everything is a dance now. So you got to know, because they can be like, coach, come and do this dance. And if you ain't in tune, they going to look at you like you ain't want to be with them when you just don't know. If you try, they'll be like, okay, coach, we're going to teach you how to dance.
Okay, okay. Well, Coach, how does your military background, how does it help shape your thoughts in terms of how you handle your program and the mental discipline in terms of what you bring through that military background? How do you implement that as a coach?
With the military background, it's definitely, it gives me a different outlook on stuff. Like, so we have 6 a.m. workouts or 6 p.m. practice. They automatically know to be 15 minutes early because that's military instilled in me. If we early, we're on time. If we're on time, we're late. Didn't make sense at first, but it started making sense of, it gives you that room if something happens, if you have an emergency. So taking that, but also being organized. Military taught me if you got stuff written down on a calendar and you're organized, you're never missing stuff. That checklist. Same thing with the team. They have practice schedules. Everything is listed out. This is when we're doing certain things. These are the equipments we need. So once it comes to practice time, we're not like scrambling to figure out what it is we're doing. Everybody knows where everything is at. We know when we're rotating, and just keeping that same discipline and being time or management. Then it goes to the discipline side. Well, we have the expectation. If you're not meeting to the expectation, discipline per se is conditioning. I don't condition it just to run you. We do conditioning of base running because that's what's implemented in the game. I'm not finna say, oh, go run 2 miles because of. No, we're going to run 60 feet because we're sprinting that 60 feet when it comes game time. So even when it comes to that conditioning workouts, it's for your softball ability. Even when they do strength and conditioning, they work on core, they work on hip muscle stuff, explosions, because that's used in the game. We just don't do workouts just because it's something to do. It's to help you perform at the peak of your ability when it comes time for the game. So the military taught me that it's we only did push-ups a lot because you had to do a PT test. You did sit-ups a lot because it's part of the PT test. You ran a mile and a half all the time. It's part of the PT test. So the military trained me to do the things that you're going to use, which is patterns and repetition. Out infield, I preach it. Hey, we got to make the play. We got to make the play. Well, how can you make the play? You do a lot of ground balls. You do a lot of turn twos. Patterns and repetition helps the mind because that's what the mind becomes used to. If you do it on a regular, it's easy. You're not struggling or you're not thinking. It becomes you're doing it on instinct. So the military taught me a lot of things about being on instinct. Just go off my instincts because usually is right.
Okay, well, Coach, you came in after the school year started, which is a tremendous uphill battle. What have you found in this team of young ladies that was already assembled when you got there with 11 freshmen? What has surprised you about the situation that you have there?
The good thing about the situation it is, most people say, hey, you got 11 freshmen. Yes, I got 11 freshmen. I got 2 seniors. I got 3 juniors, 3 sophomores. So basically a younger team. The good thing about the younger team is I got 11 freshmen who never had any collegiate experience. So what the direction I'm going with them is they're taking a heed to it, taking the upperclassmen from what they know, which having a winning program, a winning coach, that mindset and adapting into my mindset is the transition. The biggest thing that I take away from this team is how well they adapt to any situation. We had 4 weeks of practice before we had our first game. And of course they say, we need to work on this. We need to work on that. We need to work on this. Yes, we do. But we have 4 weeks to prepare for a game. We got to do the basics. Once we learn the basics, we can always implement more and more. And them actually executing the basics is very, very surprising to me. When we played our first game Friday, out of 2 games, we had 1 error. That alone was, okay, we're here. We have the athletes. They can communicate. We can execute. Now it's figuring out what it is that we need to do to be more successful, which I saw. We just got to hit the ball more. But I'm very, very satisfied with the way my defense played, even with the 11 freshmen.
Wow. That's outstanding, Coach, because my next question, I was just going to ask you, what did you learn from the early losses that you had? Because I think you lost 2 early. And
Yes.
I know that they fought back in one of them. Coach, what have you learned about this team this early in the season in terms of how they handled that adversity?
More so never giving up. Like when we went down the first game 3-0, it was the first inning, I think the first and second inning. But they never quit. They never gave up. The energy was still there. They kept doing the cheers regardless of what was going on. They knew what we needed to do to execute. And once we started getting that rally, like they fought to battle back. And once it came to the 6th inning, I was like, hey, the 7th inning, we need this 3 and out. If we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out on our own terms, not them beating us. And they did it. They fought all the way back, and we just couldn't execute on the offensive side to get that extra run. In the second game, that's when I played majority all my freshmen. I went through the whole pitching roster, which I have 5 pitchers. I got 1 senior, 1 junior, 3 freshmen. Well, I needed to see what they can do, what they couldn't do. And even in that game, we went down early, but they still fought back. The freshmen didn't get frustrated. The pitchers still executed. The other team just hit the ball. And sometimes it just happened. We had 1 error. That was a throwing error turning 2. But other than that, field play, we played a solid defense. I can't ask for nothing more besides we got to hit the ball. So this team here is going to be a lot of trouble for a lot of teams because once they get that one side of the game offense down pat and they keep the defense to where it is, it's gonna be something to keep up with.
Okay, Coach, with two seniors, who have you seen that are your early season leaders? Is it coming from your seniors, or do you have some freshmen that are trying to be leaders already? Where's your leadership coming from?
So my overall two captains is a senior and a sophomore.
Mm.
What I implement is everybody's accountable for everybody. You're gonna look out for each other. Anybody can be a leader, because a leader is just a good person who can have followers. Well, we shouldn't have a follower. Everybody on this team should be a leader, because we all have that one standard. We all on one accord. So you got some who's more vocal than the others, but they still hold each other accountable, which makes the program and makes coaching easy, because we all on one standard. I have my captains that I ask questions to get more information from, because they're just the captains. Also, Jalen Jackson, she is the overall leader, because she has won pitcher of the year. She has won a championship. She went to regionals. She knows what it's like to win. So you have a person that's there who knows what it's like, what it takes. It's easy for her to explain to the freshmen, hey, this is the work ethic. This is why this is this way. This is why we run the way we do. This is why we repeat the same patterns, even if it's boring, because this is when it comes to play once we get to conference and then go to the conference championship. Like, the goal this year is actually to go to regionals. Like, that's their overall goal. They want a ring. So that's what we're working for.
Wow, Coach. Wow. That's impressive. And I understand that some of the freshmen that you brought in, especially at the pitching level, are going to be exceptional players for you.
Yes, sir. We have a five roster pitcher. Like, pitchers, I want to say my pitching staff is probably is elite. That's just where I'm gonna leave it. It's definitely elite. And once the freshman class is comfortable, it's gonna be hard to stop, because I know my senior is gonna do what she's supposed to do. Hands down. She's been there. She's been pitcher of the year. Her goal this year is to get 200 strikeouts. And that's from the senior who knows she wants another ring before she leaves.
Coach, tell us about that senior, like her name, where she's from. Let the viewing audience know a little bit more about who she is, in addition to being the senior. Give us her name.
Yeah, Jalen Jackson. Sure, she was HBCU pitcher of the year. She got a conference championship. She won the division, I want to say, at least 3 years since she's been here. She went to regionals. She was the HBCU All-American, went to the HBCU All-American game. Jalen is an exceptional athlete, but she's a great student. She's doing, I think, like the teaching, like I think her background is in education. So she's actually doing student teaching now. So she's taking everything and still been a leader to the game, which here, just me in general, the student athlete, that is that athlete. She is that player that any coach will want, because she has both sides. She can do, of course, the athletic side, but her as a student, her as a respectable person, her can asking her questions, she don't take it the wrong way. Is she's 100% a perfect athlete that I have seen. And I'm glad I still got her, because she could have just graduated and left, but she's still here. So my job is to make sure she gets exactly what she's looking for, and I'm going to push them to get to that level.
As with 11 freshmen on your team and only 2 seniors, what is it you'll be looking for with this very limited number of recruiting spaces that you'll have?
Basically, with my mindset when it comes to recruiting, I want the best. I'm going to always go for the best, because I learned that it's not the school, it's the program. And if you can build that culture of a program and the athletes can relate to you, and the school itself has the major that they want to pursue, I got a chance. That's what I'm looking for. So, of course, knowing that I have a pitcher that's leaving, I have a middle infielder that's leaving, that's going to be my go-to. Of course, you want speed. So I'm going to look for more outfielders to replace each other, to just be there, knowing that injuries is part of the game. Having that backup, the next man up mentality. I want my backups just to be as strong as my starters, because anybody can be a starter any given day. So with recruiting, it is hard because I got 11 good freshmen, but now I don't have to do as much at one time. So I can start bringing in people to learn the culture one by one, and then a group here and a group there, instead of waiting until they're graduating to try to bring 11 more freshmen. Like, that's a hard task. So when I want to keep at least a 19 to 20 man roster, I want to at least have no less than 4 pitchers. Of course, I want 5, because that gives everybody the relief. We play a lot of games, and when you have good dominating pitchers, you don't have to overwork them, and then they trust each other. So my recruiting mindset is I'm going for the best. Like, if Alabama or Oklahoma wants you, so do I. And you just gonna have to tell me no, because if I don't give myself that opportunity, I shot myself out. So that's where I'm at with the recruiting process. I have been reaching out to some athletes. I just made more posts on social media because I've been head on with preparing my team for the game. Just like we have another game series coming up Saturday and Sunday in a tournament. So trying to implement everything at one time, but also have recruits ready when they're coming through, and still having the time to give the recruits that I know I want the opportunity to let me know if this is a perfect fit for them or not.
Coach, anyone who's interested in being a part of your softball program, parents, teachers, coaches, how can they reach out to you, and what should they do?
So of course I have the Claflin email. It's going to be rholden@claflin.edu. I also have my Twitter. You can use the Claflin softball page. Then I have, of course, Facebook, which is my name, Ricky Holden. And then if you go to the website itself, on the Athletic, it'll give you the office phone number, leaving me a voicemail if I'm not in the office. But I'm looking for people who want to compete, but also I'm looking for athletes who have good GPAs, because the last thing I want to deal with is if you go on an academic probation. We want athletes who's student athletes, and student comes first for a reason. So I need you to compete in the classroom, but also compete on competition time in the field with each other. The same when it comes to parents. Like, I want good parents. Like, that household determines a lot. It helps with knowing where the athlete background is, but also knowing that a parent can trust me to be their daughter's coach and not have to coach no more from the stands when they do in travel ball. It's now they get the chance to sit back and see the production that they raised at home, and the money and time they spent for their daughters to play softball to get to this level of competing in collegiate world. Even when it comes to support staff, like the support staff I have now, it's great. I love it. Even if you want to volunteer, it's still, that opportunity is there because the help is there, but also just learning other people's experience. Like, I'm always willing to learn and get advice from any and everybody. I talk to a lot of the coaches here about different things, and they don't coach softball, but they have coaching insight. They have a different mentality how to approach certain things. So I take those little nuggets and implement it to a way I can understand it, but also explain it and take that and move forward and just help out. But I'm always looking for great athletes who want to compete, who know it's not going to be handed to them, who's going to bring everything to the table, and also respectable. Like, respect is the number one non-negotiable that I have. You have to be respectful from parents, teachers, coaches, umpires, teammates, everywhere. If I see you somewhere, I should never see you disrespecting anybody. I always taught, you got nothing good to say nothing at all. And that's what I look for, especially within the athlete, because I can't do nothing with an athlete that's disrespectful. It's just we can't go nowhere.
Exactly. Coach, you said a lot. You gave us a lot to draw on, and I appreciate you being a part of the show. I can't wait to see when we interview you again what else you've learned in that spot.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate the opportunity for the platform to just be here, and I definitely look forward to doing it again.
Thank you, Coach, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Like us on Facebook.
I liked it on Facebook.
Follow us on Twitter. INSiiGHTS.
Yeah.
2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
All right, y'all.
Stay up to date with the latest from INSiiGHTS. Visit our website at INSiiGHTS.com. 2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
INSiiGHTS is a copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises and is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on INSiiGHTS represent the independent thoughts and representation.